start a statement, Coach, and then questions.
Yesterday was a fun day. We were off, and coming off a excellent road victory over one of our rivals. Certainly have had a chance to watch the game, and like I said afterwards, it's a lot more fun to learn and grow while you're winning than it is to do that with the alternative. So we got a lot to work on, but obviously we're thrilled to get the win.
Chris, we kind of talked a little bit about it after the game too, but so much maturity shown by this team. Yes, obviously you guys had a big lead, and then UNM kept fighting and got back to it, but how much maturity and growth was shown in this team this weekend to hang on for that win, a road win and a rivalry game in a very, very tough environment on Saturday?
I think a lot. I think we grew up quite a bit Saturday. I didn't know what to expect. It's the first time we've had to take the show on the road. It was new for a lot of guys, and to do it, in front of 14,000 people, and it felt louder this year. It felt just more intense this year, even though we came from behind last year. It just had a different feel for it, for me anyway, than it did a year ago. The odd thing about that game was how poorly the numbers suggest that we played, especially defensively. If you'd have told me before the game that, we were going to lead 19 twice in the second half and then give up 40 points in 9 minutes and some change to end the game, I would have said that, we got beat soundly. And so that was very disappointing. If we give up 40 and a half, we're pretty ticked off going into halftime, but to give up 40 in the last 9 minutes on the road and to survive it, says a lot about our offense, to be honest with you. When you look at our overall numbers right now, we look like more of an offensively minded team than we do a defensively minded team. And, 2 of the 4 games, it's too early to tell if that's going to be the case going forward. But 2 of the 4 games, obviously, were, against, talented teams and good basketball teams. So, who knows how it's going to look in 8 to 10 games. But, after watching the video, it was more about how well they played offensively down the stretch. Huge shots. We couldn't get consecutive stops. It wasn't like we stopped scoring the ball. We continued to score the ball at a pretty good clip down the stretch. But definitely it was a pretty big feather in our this year's team's caps to go up there and get it done and finish the game.
I know this was brought up too after Saturday. UNM's the second tallest team on average in the country. But how proud are you of your team to, out-rebound a team like that, like UNM? I think you guys had 10 offensive rebounds, if I'm correct. But, yeah, and we always talk about that all the time. Those are staples of your program, but, how you're able to combat against that size difference.
I'm pretty confident that we'll be able to rebound with most of the teams that we play. It's something that we emphasize quite a bit. And if we don't, with all the time and, concentration and effort that we put into that, then it's going to be hard for us to win. So, everybody, emphasizes what's important to their program, and that's something that is very important to us. And, I expected us to do that. I'm not sure I was overly proud of them. I expected them to do that. It was a low number of rebounds because of how well both teams shot the ball. It was +9, but there were only 52, 53 rebounds total, so that's a pretty good difference when there are only that many rebounds that were available.
Coach, Mo kind of had a little bit, I guess you could say, a rough start to the year. He didn't play too well in the first 2 games, but played well against St. Mary's and really seemed like he played his best game so far on Saturday. I think he had 9 and 9. How acclimated is he now getting into this system? And seems like he's kind of, I guess you could say, found his footing in this, here at NMSU.
Well, we play the guys that earn the minutes in practice, and when we rolled out on November 6th against North Dakota State, he hadn't earned, the minutes that he probably wanted all spring and summer and fall. But because we also talk about this a lot, and when you get your minutes in the games, you need to produce. If you want to play more minutes, then play well. We'll keep you in the game. You'll play more going forward. And so I thought he showed some good signs in the second half against St. Mary's and played well and provided a little bit of a spark. And so we felt going into the game that he deserved, more run and more early looks. And he got in the game in the first half and kind of had a little coming out party, if you will, for him personally. And, he played well. He scored the ball. He was fairly active on defense. That's his thing that he's slow on or behind on is the defense and rebounding that we expect from our players. But he had an excellent game, and obviously he's put himself in position to get more minutes going forward. But I say it all the time. I mean, new players, I don't care if it's a transfer, a junior college player, a high school player, a prep school player, it takes time to acclimate to Division I. They get blown up in the recruiting process, and people probably don't remember, but I always say, hey, everybody loves their recruits. Let's wait and see how they perform under the lights. And I fully expected him to have a learning curve, and certainly I want the learning curve to be, short for all of them. But some take longer than others, and hopefully, I would assume his confidence is much better now, and he can continue to produce for us.
Coach, did you sense a game like this coming from AJ?
I don't know. I didn't, have any conversations with anybody on the staff that, AJ is going to play well tonight. He was very focused for the, leading into the game. But, he's always capable of that. He hasn't done that for us, that big a scoring night, I don't think, since he's been here. But he's capable because of his talent. He can shoot it. He's really worked on his jump shot. That was the book on him. He's more of a driver, creator, scorer than a shooter. And he's worked diligently on his jump shot and since we've arrived, and really has made himself harder to guard because now people can't back off him, and so now he can drive it against players as well. But he's always been capable of it, and the next few games, maybe weeks before he gets that plateau again. But it's always nice to have confidence and know that he's capable of doing that.
With AJ, obviously we all knew he was, and you'd said it too, he's going to have to be the leader of this team, and it seems like he's really embraced that role. But Saturday and this weekend, I thought he kind of really showed that leadership. You could see him pumping up his teammates. When he got out of the game from injury, he's still pumping his teammates up. It seemed like he kind of led these guys from the moment you guys got to Albuquerque. He's been there before. So how much leadership have you seen and growth in that area have you seen from AJ? And it seems like he's really embraced that role too.
Yeah, I agree with you. We've talked about his emergence as a leader, but he was different in preparation and certainly in the game. Even when I watched the video, I didn't maybe notice it as much in the game because I was in my own thoughts and conversations. But when he wasn't in the game and he wasn't sitting in those 5 chairs, during timeouts, he was walking in front of them and barking at them and talking to them and, keeping them focused into the game. And Sean Buchanan was doing the same. And Eli Chua was actually, pretty vocal in our huddles, and that's what you want. You want your experienced guys to help everybody through those moments, and you want your point guards to be an extension of you. That's probably when your best is when your point guards are an extension of the head coach, and he's fallen in line, and it's exciting to see, especially since he's only a junior, and we're in the infant stages of his junior season, and to have him back for another year. But it's Sean too. I mean, Sean and him got a great relationship. And they've emerged, and hopefully they'll continue to emerge. And it's one thing to want to be a leader, and it's one thing to open your mouth, but it's another to get people to listen to you. And I think these other guys are starting to listen and buy in. And after a game like that, I think he's more apt to have everybody's ears now moving forward.
When these Division II teams come in here, obviously this is an in-state 1-2. This is like their national championship. So how do you what do you want to see this week from your team with just one game this week against a D2 team?
I want us to play well. We'll get back at it this afternoon and tomorrow and prepare like we always do. And like you said, we understand how important these games are for those programs. And, we respect the game. We're going to respect our opponents every time we step on the court. We're going to give them our time and our diligence, and we're going to scout them like we always do and put together a practice plan and come out and compete. So, we're hopeful that we play well and we can get, some more guys, some runs that they deserve. But obviously the game will unfold, as it does each and every time.
Have you had a chance to look at Eastern at all, like what they kind of do? Or?
I haven't yet. It was a grind last week, St. Mary's and UNM with short turnarounds, so I was pretty focused on them, and it was a lot of time that went into the preparations for those games. So I stayed away from it yesterday, and as soon as we're done here, we'll go dive into them.
Coach, do you feel like the way you shot the ball answered a lot of questions that maybe you had going into the game?
Yeah, it was nice to see. After the 2 for 18 from 3 and 5 for 11 in the first half performance at the line against St. Mary's, it'll shake your confidence. Shake everybody's confidence. But, I'm there every day, and we track it and chart it, all summer and fall, and we've shot the ball way better than that, and consistently, in the mid to high 30s from three, and mid to high 40s overall. So I felt pretty confident going into the season that we're going to be able to shoot the ball from the arc, and it was going to be different. Like I've said, it wasn't going to be one or two guys. It was going to be spread out. Obviously, it was AJ's night the other night, but I think you'll see different guys step up and have really good games. But we're just different this year. I think we have more capable scorers on the floor at one time than we did last year. Last year, our fours couldn't shoot the ball, and so teams just stranglehold us, and it was hard to do a lot of things offensively. And this year, we usually have at least 4 and sometimes 5 guys on the court that can spread the D, and the driving lanes are wider, and we can get to the basket and use our speed and quickness. So it's exciting that way, but at the same time, it's hard for me to look at a stat sheet and know we were, gave up 40 the last 9 minutes and some change, and we're up 10 with 2 minutes left in the game, and it came down to them having the ball and having a chance to win the game, and that's frustrating. But at the same time, rivalry games, crazy things happen, and we're happy to get the win, but we're certainly going to try to learn from those mistakes and get better.
With no classes this week and just the one game, is this an opportunity for maybe you and the coaching staff to encourage the guys to get in the gym a little bit more this week?
Oh, for sure. We do it all the time, but obviously, you got to be careful with the academics requirements and everything that goes into with that. So now that they don't have the responsibilities of class, it's going to be crucial for them to spend extra time in the gym, and I know they will. They've been great about it. Each of them does their own thing. Some guys are morning guys, some guys are between class, some guys are late at night, and we don't care when they do it as long as they do it, and it's high quality. But these times, every coach talks about it getting better, during the season. Excuse me. When you have these breaks, especially Thanksgiving and then Christmas when they're longer, it's just a great opportunity to get better. And we needed this break. We need this, get through this game on Wednesday and then have a whole week to enjoy the holidays. But at the same time, have some practices where we're just focused on us. We're just going NMSU basketball versus NMSU basketball and not having a scout team. And I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's a great opportunity for us to get better.